Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my Yakuza Kiwami 2 perspective. Now, I played it on Xbox, but I had gotten this, Steelbook edition cheap. And I did not like this game. I finished it, and I understand that this is a remake of, a game from, 2006. But I played it, and I was wondering how the series even survived this game because of how overly complicated and convoluted the kind of plot went, when it isn't really that. It's you can definitely get it down to simplistic kind of stuff of what's kind of going on, but then you get into the plot twist for fucking plot twist's sake that come towards the end, and just shit that comes out of nowhere, all the while just adding shit that doesn't need to be there. This is an example of someone who could potentially get it and be like, I got my money's worth, I played 100 some hours out of this. And I'm like, yeah, but did you have fun with those hours? Because I didn't, because they changed and designed some weird fucking systems in this, and the sub-stories, which were what pretty much had me interested, were pretty much just not really worth it to me. I'm just alright, I'm doing this I'm on fight kind of thing at the end, and it's just, we got these bouncer missions which are just horribly implemented with shit boss designs, and it's just, you have to do things a certain kind of way, and I can understand being oh, of course you have to do things a certain way with certain kind of stuff, but it's you gotta go the most broken kind of weird route possible, and go through a lot of weird kind of systems to kind of get there, and even then, it's not worth the kind of frustration and time involved. I mean, I've also started doing Yakuza 3, and I'm ooh boy, holy shit, that, I don't know, man, I can definitely understand why people would be Yakuza 0 and Yakuza 7 are the better kind of ones, because one was alright, I kind of get it. There's I can understand why people like this and identify with it so much, because there's potential there, and there's also the potential of art that you get something greater out of it than what was intended or put in. But this sags under the weight of you can hear a certain kind of games or certain kind of media be oh, it's greater than the sum of its parts. The sum of its parts fight together to make it a complete and utter fucking mess. You've got the Cabaret Club system, which is just copied and pasted from Yakuza 0, just plopped in here. Granted, they fuck around with it where there's enough of a story, but the thing is, it's just tacked on, and I would rather have had that kind of fleshed out to kind of do something with it. Because that's the thing. It's okay, what do you want this game to be? Do you want it to be a crime kind of brawler drama where you're going around as this dude pretty much trying to be a samurai? Because they keep being this is what the Yakuza are supposed to be or whatnot. It's okay, you're trying to be a Ronin samurai dude trying to be an honorable chivalrous knight going around Don Quixote kind of shit style. Alright, I get that. It's just not executed well enough, because God forbid the fucking Tojo clans fucking gotta shit the bed again. Honestly, Kiryu needs to fucking no, all y'all fuckers are stupid as shit. Let this shit go. I mean, not let people get killed or whatnot, but the organization, he's gotta come and save its ass again. I'm oh great, round 3. I don't mind a story progressing with certain stuff, but it's oh, Tojo clan's in trouble, Kiryu comes back. Ah shit, Haruko got kidnapped again. Ah shit, Daigo got kidnapped and is gone for a lot of the game. Ah shit, Kazuki got shot and is gone for most of the game. Ah shit, Kiryu got 100 million yen bounty on his head. Let's put him immediately in a cabaret storyline. I shit you not. What the fuck? Then we got Majima's construction thing with a fucking tower defense game. The thing is, it's okay, you're now putting half-implemented other game ideas into this game that's just taking resources away from making the best game possible of either you make a really good tower defense game, boom, you make a really good cabaret management game where you do a lot of different kind of stuff and get better character development and actual better story where you actually fucking see that, oh, Yuki from Yakuza 0 and then like Majima are kind of back together again, and it's glossed over because there's not enough time. Oh shit, we've got this Majima saga, which is just supposed to kind of like let us play as Majima again, and it's just half implemented. It's like, oh, okay, we do the story, we go and check this out, and it's like not really long enough, it doesn't really do much, and it's like, oh, this villain has the same idea for the other one. It's like, we will revolutionize the Yakuza, and then just pretty much make it into some kind of fucking monopoly for the underworld. And then at the end, the bad guy's got the same fucking idea. It's like, any other fucking ideas? Please? But then we got, like, the construction. You have to do... You have to interact with these kind of things to get, like, either experience or other kind of, like, items to do other kind of things. And it's just like, sometimes I don't want to interact with this. Anytime you've got certain kind of things in here, make it a value add. Because sometimes you got to do certain things to get certain kind of upgrades or whatnot, or skills, so that way you don't get fucked over in other parts. And it's like, I could understand the argument. It's like, oh, then you're just, then just fucking forget about it and deal with your kind of consequences of your actions. And I get that to a certain extent. However, if you have designed a boss encounter where you need those fucking skills and everything to kind of actually do a better job and not be essentially trying to, like, punch your own asshole out through your nose, that's bad design. Like, the boss battles were just like, alright, nothing really great to write home about, but then you get into the bouncer missions and you need a certain setup to kind of fuck with these people. And it's just like, alright, you're getting bum rushed by, like, tank-ass motherfuckers, and it's like, oh, this is great difficulty. It's like, no, this is just pretty much trying to be a sadistic asshole and fuck over people. It's not it's not skill-based. I just have to get certain kind of things and input certain kind of inputs to go here. It's not me learning active things through the system to get better and build those skills where I wreck wholesale ass. It's like, fuck. And granted, I know I seem kind of scattershot in this kind of beginning, but the design is the central fucked up thing of this, and the story, oh god, it kind of just fucking spins out of that with its kind of stupidity, because the designs of, like, how these, I don't even really call them mini games, they're kind of macro mini games which you have to sometimes interact with to get money. Like, if you don't want to do the Cabaret Club or the Tower Defense, now granted the Cabaret Club most, good luck trying to get fucking money. And then the leveling system. Before this, you fought people and you got money and zero to pretty much level yourself up, so fighting was your implementation of getting what you needed. It's like, alright, cool, I got this. Kiwami 1. Fighting, you got XP, you spent skill points, all that kind of stuff. Alright, cool, I got that. A leveling system in this is you go and you eat food. You have to make sure you have the right combinations of food to get like 5 different kind of types of XP, and then you're full, and then you just go around and fight as to pretty much make the timer go down so that way you can eat again. Like, it's a really fucking weird way to, like, grind for XP. I don't mind them trying to show off Japanese cuisine. However, in the other previous games that I have played through, that is a value add, and I'm like, oh, I get kind of cultural history, I get an understanding of what's going on. Here, I have to be like, this is my primary way of grinding an XP. So I eat, I get full, and then I have to spend XP to increase my capacity to eat more food and for my food to be digested faster, and then I just go around and beat up people. And granted, the fighting system is kind of weird here. Now granted, it's not as bad as, like, Kiwami 1's kind of understanding of, like, hey, you can definitely kind of feel that they grafted a new coat of paint onto, like, a 2005 kind of thing. But it's weird to figure out how to do the fighting in this one. It wasn't intuitive to me. And never mind that Kamurocho and everything is too bright. And I don't mean that, like, my retinas, like, my retinas aren't burning, but it's definitely, like, really hard, like, to look at because you're like, okay, there's a level of too shiny here. It just, okay, it looks pretty in certain instances, but, and I'm like going through because I want to do the sub stories, but then none of them were interesting to me. I didn't care about the people. It just felt like fetch quests and just like copy and pasting of other previous quests. And I don't mean like, hey, they progressed the story for this. It's just, oh, you're doing the same kind of shit for the same kind of people over and over, where it's like, it definitely reminded me of Ubisoft kind of design. I'm like, you could rightly have to hit Ubisoft's open world design of just like not being engaging, empty kind of worlds. The same kind of design implementations and failures are happening here in the Yakuza series. And I know that sounds kind of like crazy to say, but it's the same kind of unrewarding kind of sub-stories for me where I don't get any kind of funny kind of moments. Or it was funny the first time, but now I'm on the third kind of game, and why the fuck is this still here? Try something else? Oh, God. Definitely not fun. It's like, yeah, I got all this time, and I really don't have any fun from it. And Kiryu's character is just not explored really much at all. He sometimes says certain stuff, I'm like, oh, okay, I kind of get that, but he really just doesn't do much. I mean, he tries to do certain kind of things, but then they do fucking weird shit with his characters. Talking about fate and, like, either accepting your fate or, like, fighting against it, there's kind of, like, sometimes where he's, like, on one or the other. It's just like, what the fuck? And then the ending, oh my god. Like, they put all this kind of stuff on him really having a relationship with Haruka. However, you get to the end, and there's like this bomb thing going off, and it's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna die here, as she's fucking in the helicopter working off, like, being like, Uncle Kaz! It's like, really? Like, you were just gonna go to jail in the game that I previously finished, and you're just like, nah, fuck it, I'm just gonna die here. I'm like, alright. But, so, let's do this story. I know it's weird that I'm doing it out of order, but that's an example of it being like, oh, we've got him really having a relationship with Haruka, but like, no, he's just gonna like let this bomb thing kill him while he's like macking on this lady. It's like, okay. So, we got Terada as the head of the Tojo clan. We see that Kiryu and Haruka went to pretty much the graves. And it's like, I already did this, so I'm not gonna like see what's going on. And then pretty much it's made to look like the Omi Alliance is going to kill Terada. He pretty much gets shot up pretty badly. And the thing is, he was going to make an oath with the Omi Alliance chairman, Goda, and there was going to be peace between them. But now he's pretty much dead. So Kiryu's trying to figure out how to save the Tojo clan because they're fucked over from everything that had happened in Kiwami 1. So he pretty much goes to Kamurocho, and he wants to do this. Yayoi Dojima is now acting chairman of the Tojo clan, and Kiryu pretty much brings us up to her and the rest of the family. For some fucking reason, the Nishikiyama family is still in there, and this douche dude who is essentially like a copy-paste of like Nishiki, of like, yeah, I'm a fucking douche hole. Except he has even less charisma and less fucking character than him, except just looking like a slick-back hair douche. It's just like, yeah, fuck you, man. And Kiryu's like, yeah, I'm gonna go to fucking Kansai and do this shit. But let me go and find your son Daigo and kind of get him to actually take responsibility for the Tojo clan. I'm like, why don't you just let this shitty organization die and then create your own kind of organization that would just help the people of Kamurocho that isn't an illegal front for, like, criminal organizations and shit? I don't know, just a fucking thought, because this shit's going nutty doo-dah nutty day. But hey, we gotta go Michael Bay style over substance on this shit. God, that comes later though. But he goes, we see that Daigo's pretty much douche boy going around. His people, entourage is pretty much like, I'm gonna be an asshole. And Daigo's like, chill your fucking shit. Now granted, he doesn't go completely on that kind of route of chill your fucking shit, but Kiryu pretty much beats him and then says, let's do this shit. And he's like, okay, because the plot has to demand that this shit goes on. So they pretty much go out there and trying to figure out what's kind of going on. There's pretty much a terroristic attack on the Millennium Tower because this tower can't go 5 fucking minutes without being fucked over with some kind of fucking thing. Because some dude's like talking to this other dude's like, yeah, let's do this shit. Leroy Jenkins, motherfucker. It's like, alright, it is interesting timeline-wise of like, understanding kind of terror attacks and everything like that of what's kind of going on and how it's kind of viewed in this kind of story setting. However, it is dealt with the subtlety of like a jackhammer in most kind of instances where it's just like, oh yeah, look at this. It's like, okay, you got anything else to say about that? We have things to say about this? Don't you want your minigames? It's like, whatever. So they're like, okay, we're gonna have to kind of deal with that. And they pretty much go to the Omi. They're trying to like pretty much broker a peace. Kiryu pretty much got introduced to the Dragon of Kanzai, Ryuji Goda, who's like, no, you can't call me a dragon until I kill Kiryu. And the thing is, Ryuji could have been an interesting antagonist to me. However, they take no time whatsoever to develop him, really. And just be like, I'm going to be the dragon. And everything kind of goes with that. And that's it. He just goes through like that. We get little snippets and bits towards the end for certain kind of things. But that's it. Especially in regards to his sister. Half-sister. Kiryu is also introduced to Sayama, the Yakuza huntress, eater, however it is, and she's kind of interesting, but again, they just kind of like put her as like the partner, because we saw Date-san, he's pretty much out, just fucking her all around, gets and is used to introduce us to this Kawara-san dude, who is an asshole, and it's like, oh look, he's been going around killing these people. We get all these kind of flashback things, but it gets introduced that like in the 1980s there was this Korean mafia that was trolling around Kamurocho and being a bunch of dicks, and the police couldn't do anything about it, so they pretty much let the Yakuza be like, hey, like, annihilate them all and kill them all, please. Shintaro Kazuma is like, we don't have to do that, we could kind of like talk this shit out. Shimano's like, fuck that noise, bitch, fuck that noise. And Dojima like, just kill them, please. So we then see the Kawara dude going in. We see that Shintaro's killing people. One dude's calling him a liar. However, we see that like Kiryu tells us that it was during Christmas at that time. He had followed Shintaro to see what was going on, thought Shintaro needed help, came in, busted in. The dude's like, you lying! Yeah, because Shintaro's like, guys, just fucking leave. And these people are built up to be like a boogeyman of like, they have horrible, terrible tactics, and that justifies Kawara going with his horrible, terrible tactics of like murdering illegal immigrants, specifically pretty much Korean ones, because he was doing that to protect his daughter, Sayama, the Yakuza huntress, because we learned that, spoiler alert, she's half Korean, because he had saved the woman who was the wife of the head boss of the Korean mafia, and the son, who we learned is Ryuji Goda. It's crazy, because we all learned this in the span of, like, not granted, the Sayama one's pretty much seeded throughout, so that one I really didn't have a problem with. However, it turned into, she's half Korean, Ryuji's Korean, and half-brother. And then we learn that Terada is not dead and is actually Korean and part of that mafia. We learn that, and before we learned that, we learned that one of the head of the Foreign Affairs Division in the Tokyo Police is part of that mafia and Korean as well. It was like, holy shit, is this Japan or is this Korea? I almost thought it was going to go to that kind of insane levels of joke of being like, this is Korea. Nah, we're just fucking around with it. It was just, I have never seen a plot twist used so many times in such a short span at the end and been like, wow, this is fucking dumb. And he's like, yes, I did this to exact revenge from 26 years ago. And it's like, Kiryu saw you, Shintaro saw you, nobody fucking tried to do this. It's like retconning itself right in the middle of fucking the story. I've never seen that kind of shit happen. Oh god, it was just and that they planted bombs for all their people that were killed, and that they're gonna blow up Kamurocho, and then Terada's like, this is my bomb thing. And then this one dude from the Omi Alliance is like, I'm gonna betray you and monopolize the Yakuza stuff. He's just fucking vomiting shit. It's just like, alright. Sorry that I skipped out, but it's not that kind of complicated, because they essentially go to make peace. Ryuji and the Sengoku douchefuck is like, nah, man, and then you fight your way out, and then Sayama's pretty much like, oh, fourth chairman, we're going to put you in protective custody, because if you get killed, it'll start a war thing. It's like, the war's already started. She gets shot, you have to deal with some fucked up stupid thing of, like, taking her to a bar and then fucking around for a little bit, because gotta do that, because it's not like you could have just taken me to the next kind of step. You literally... I don't mind them building a world and being like, hey, have fun and look around there. But it's literally like, hey, here's the filler shit, go, like, walk around or whatnot, because we need... I don't know why we need it. Because he got Daigo to get Goda, chairman, out. However, they didn't get fucking kidnapped, and then you don't really do much with them until Kiryu's, like, trying to figure out where they're at. He gets the price on his head by Sengoku. Is this Sengoku? I don't fucking know. Fan Man, who's just like a douche. And somewhat looks similar to fucking Dojima. So, hey, Dojima. He pretty much had to try and bring Majima back in to kind of help. Brings the floors back in for certain kind of sub-stories and learning where shit is and people are doing. God, it's just a fucking kind of mess. I'm sticking to the... Fuck it, I'm sticking to the plot-relevant shit because it gets stupid as fucking hell. Because they tried to figure out what was going on. Kazuki got fucking shot, and there was like this dude who had the same face, but Date-san's then wanted for that dude's murder, even though Sayama killed him. It's like, what the fuck? This doesn't... Like, it doesn't even come back, really, at the end, except that, like, Kazuki got shot, and then you, like, find him, and when you say goodbye in Yakuza 3, it's like, what the fuck? Kiryu gets stabbed at one point. Oh, shit. Let's see here. No, that's pretty much what was going on. So they pretty much just try and find the other people that were not massacred. They find the one, but the Korean Mafia sent people after him and kill him anyway. They find out that Kawara and Besso, the pretty much boss of Sayama, were pretty much in on it, and they get more kind of information out of them, because that's how they were led to the one dude. And that they're not going to stop until the Tojo are destroyed. And then, that's the thing. It gets really kind of weird, because that's where we get the Sayama thing, and then Sengoku fucking, like, kidnaps Haruka, and the biggest thing of, like, style over substance is that, like, Kiryu then got stabbed pretty much because of the bounty on him. But then he gets patched up enough, and he's like, Haruka, she got kidnapped. I'm going to go Osaka Castle. Fine. We get to Osaka Castle, and it's white and everything, and then we hear rumbling, and then for some fucking reason that's never really explained, it splits open, and a golden one of, like, with the fucking Omi symbol that's as big as it just comes up, and I'm just like, this is stupid. It's just spectacle for no reason. Like, I don't need to have, like, the deepest fucking reason, but this goes, like, almost like Game of Death kind of Bruce Lee thing where he, like, goes through, beats the shit out of, like, two tigers, which is a little bit difficult because, they're low on the ground, and Kiryu really kind of, like, punches up, so it's like, this wasn't designed really for that kind of thing. And granted, the thing is, if you're in a brawler game, you'd rather want to, like, I don't know, fight a tiger with your bare hands, granted, just to prove that you can do it. It had its issues, and I'm like, what the fuck? But then, of course, Ryuji kills Sengoku because him, Ryuji, and them are kind of, like, vying for the Omi leadership, but Ryuji's like, you fucking kidnapped a kid. Eat a dick. And then fucking stabs him, and then, like, thunder kicks him off of a ledge. And then he's like, you and me are gonna fight, so just, let's do this. Then, of course, they pretty much bring up that that the Kurahashi dude is one of the Korean mafia dudes. He took Date and the Forest of Sai hostage, so you go there and defeat him, but also kills Kawara, and we get the whole reveal of Sayama and all that kind of shit. And he was pretty much just hunting down people and just being the same kind of murderous bastard that, like, other people were to protect his daughter. I'm like, you're still a dickhole. Like, you still kind of left her on her kind of own and stayed out of her life. Like, there's a lot of other kind of ways to deal with this. And then we get this whole kind of invasion of the Omi into Kamurocho, and it's just really kind of boring for, like, an underground criminal syndicate doing that kind of shit. But Majima kind of helps defuse the bombs and everything. And then Ryuji pretty much challenges Kiryu atop the Kamurocho Hills construction site. He's like, the tallest part of Kamurocho Hills. I'm like, wouldn't that be the Millennium Tower? And of course, Sayama pretty much tries to appeal to her, being like, not appeal to him, to be like, no, don't do this, let me bring you in, brother, sister kind of stuff. I'm like, he just learned this, and he doesn't give a fucking shit. And then you just fight him, and it's like, alright, and then, of course, you fight Terada and everything, and then we get the whole expositioning kind of stuff. This is where the really long cutscenes start really taking effect in here. You really see that fucking transition, because there's long-ass fucking ones in Zero, but one kind of well enough in its son of itself. By the way, the inability to pause during cutscenes in Yakuza 3 is ass. The thing is, I just start turning off the fucking notifications that I've got on my Xbox, because, now granted, I could have moved it to, like, the up top portion, but it would go to where the subtitles were, and I'm like, I can't pause this, so if I miss something, I'm not missing much. That's what I'm getting at. It's like, oh god, this one really kind of tempted me. I've been like, I might just blitz through other kind of stories, because I'm getting nothing out of these kind of things, except for certain kind of ones to kind of get enough XP to get certain kind of upgrades for, like, health or whatnot. Let's see. Takashima just pops up out of nowhere and starts going, woo! Ryuji takes his ass out, but gets mortally wounded. Kiryu gets wounded as well. Terada's pretty much dead. And we have another fucking brawl as this, like, bomb thing's going on. And it just doesn't feel epic. I'm just like, you've laid so much shit on me. This thing that should have been a great fucking fight scene of, like, these two dragons of men, these two legends. I don't get it. Like, it's not that I'm not into that and can't buy into that. The presentation and the execution, it's just like, I just want this to be over. What other kind of stupid thing's gonna come up now? Are we gonna get it's me Dio fucking thing? Like, literally like a JoJo thing? Now granted, there are JoJo references that have been in here, but I'm, like, expecting, like, a third fucking villain that's like, no, it was me, motherfucker! And same kind of shit. It's just, ugh, god. And the thing is, Terada's like, trust me. It's like, why the fuck would I trust you? You beefy bastard. Like, you didn't tell me who you were. You tried to kill all these people. Why would I trust you not to kill fucking everybody with this thing right now? Why? Why? And it's almost like this was built into, like, if it sold well enough, Kiryu lives, and then we'll get him back. Or if it didn't, he just fucking died, and we're done. And then we see the Kiryu Haruka visit Terada's grave, also joined by Sayama, and it's just like, it's not that complicated of a thing, but they did their damnedest to make it fucking worse. Like, if it had just been straightforward, you cut out the fat, you cut out the filler, and you just have this dude walking around trying to get these, like, it's trying to stop a war between two assholes, mainly with, like, a bigger asshole and a smaller asshole, even though it should have just been like, you know what, why don't we dissolve the Tojo clan and make something else and try and be better and actually help people and everything. Because you get the, it's really kind of weird how they try and build up and, like, make the Yakuza out to be like a good kind of force, even though there are Yakuza that do good things. That's cool. They do extortion, blackmail, kill people. It's like, why don't you just build, like, I mean, shit. Why didn't Kiryu just be like a real estate dude and do some crazy ass shit and fund orphanages and shit and all that? Like, I could have accepted, like, him being a Yakuza at first, getting out, and then seeing the things that don't work and trying to make it better. But no, it's just Kiryu gets back in and does these kind of similar crime stories over and over again. And it's just like, they're not interesting. And they have so many similarities of, like, the Tojo clan is in trouble. Okay. These assholes are trying to get this plot of land. Okay. Because it'll shake the foundations of the Tojo clan. Alright. 10 billion yen are missing. This organization fucking sucks. What the fuck? Our organization is fucked up from the last time and is probably going to get destroyed by another organization. So let's do this shit. Even though we've got, like, just fucking Korean mafia that just is like, yo, bitch. And just does this even though we were building up this, like, cool-ass kind of antagonist that's completely fucking wasted, where it would have been interesting to have this dude just be so obsessed with trying to be a dragon. You know, like, he doesn't need to be Yakuza. He doesn't need to be in charge of, like, a clan or anything. It's just him and Kiryu dealing with this stuff, where Kiryu's like, I don't want to do this, but I will fight to protect what I need to protect. He, like, threatens an orphanage, threatens the orphanage or whatnot. He threatens the business. He threatens any kind of other people, and Kiryu's like, that isn't what happens here. You are not going to be this dragon and then just, like, fight like that. There's a lot of different kind of other ways to go with this. And I can definitely see why this series has been so niche for so long with this kind of stuff, because I can only see, like, a strong kind of core group of fan base really being into this. And if this is your kind of thing, that is cool. I don't want to take your enjoyment from this, or to not think this is good, or not take the good kind of lessons that you've gotten out of this, alright? That is not my intention whatsoever. My intention is to get my perspective and the opinions and what I've gotten through this series. And I can definitely see how there can be good things drawn from this, and you can get from it, and that there's great potential and everything. Like, I do like the idea of, like, having a kind of cool virtual playground of, like, certain kind of Japanese places, and, like, going around and doing things, but you need things to do in them. And most of the stuff of, like, darts, pool, certain arcades and stuff like that, I'm just like, I kind of applaud them for the arcade bits, because you can then play these kind of older games in an emulated kind of fashion without having to emulate it yourself. So with that, I'm kind of like, yeah, but the thing is, I kind of want to play this game and get engrossed in these stories and worlds, and fuck, it does not happen. It really fucking doesn't happen. And it's very interesting to... The thing is, I wanted to do this series to kind of understand it, and understand my problems with it, and to understand the design decisions, because this is a very interesting series to look at for those design decisions, because a lot of them, it's like, they very much tune it to the minimal viable product, and just keep kind of going with that and make as little iterations as possible on certain kind of things. Like, I could understand that I would have been fine with just doing 0 and 7, and being like to see the kind of differences with that. So them changing to a turn-based for 7, I applaud them for that, because it's like, that's the kind of biggest change to allow you to do certain kind of stuff. Because it helped me to a certain extent with boss encounter designs. Now granted, there are certain boss things that are just kind of fuckity-doo-dah, fuckity-day on there, but where I've been going through with these 3 games, I'm like, the bosses should challenge you to use everything that you have learned throughout playing the game to essentially, like puzzles, beat them. And you should have fun with that, and be like, alright, I got through that. You know what I mean? And I never really got this here. It's just like, fuck, it's done, so I can be done with this fucking thing. And that's nuts, because the interesting kind of thing that I can bring up is, like, there's various different kind of states of games. You can have a game that has a really good engrossing story and really good gameplay, where you're fucking jamming out to it. It is hitting everything, and you're like, fuck yeah. Then you got a game that the story is fucking terrible, and you're like, this sucks. However, the gameplay is fucking on point and peak, and you're like, alright, I don't like this story, but I'm having fun, so whatever. Then you got the opposite, where the story has great potential and great interest, but the gameplay is just fucking nutty doodah, and you are not having fun. You would rather take a black hole, insert it into your nostril, and then fucking rack out to whatever the fuck would happen with that. And then, this is what's happened for me. Like, I recognize that these games have potential and stuff, but the story never really interests me because they go stupid on things. It's like plot twists that aren't needed, convolution and complexity that really just actually muddies the story and makes it boring and harder to even really talk about, because if you actually float in what's going on, it's like, alright, that sounds pretty cool. I would have liked to have gone through that in that kind of order. Ha! Good deal. Try that. This game, for me, represents where the story and the gameplay just aren't for me completely. It's like, oh god. And it's interesting to have those kinds of games so that way you understand what is important to you in a game and what's fun and what's not. And sometimes it's important to kind of challenge that to see, okay, is there a point where this turns into fun for me? And holy shit, it's actually kind of gotten worse as I've been going through it. I'm like, wow, I start seeing how the evolution of certain kind of things are going on. Like, at first, in the first, like, Yakuza Kiwami 1, you could see that's like, okay, the cutscenes aren't too long, they aren't too bad. They shift around between certain kind of ones of, like, full motion, and it's voiced, and then between, like, the text kind of one, but it felt kind of a little bit more balanced. And then you start getting kind of, like, out of whack where you get more of the text ones, and you're like, alright. And then you get the kind of crazy shit that goes on with Yakuza 0, where it's just, like, all over the place. Like, you could essentially be in one kind of plot dumping kind of exercise where you get a little bit of A, kind of more of a chunk of B, a fucking C out of nowhere where it's like, what the fuck? Pick a cutscene presentation thing that you want to stick with and use that as consistently as possible. It's like, I don't need the whole thing fully voiced, but geez, just sometimes you don't need the text kind of ones to kind of go with it, because you have already told me the same fucking information literally 2 seconds before. And it's just like, oh god. And I don't mind making sure that people understand how the plot's going on. I'm not saying that you mention something for like 2 seconds and then you get payoff like at the end of the game. It's like, I didn't get that whatsoever fucking ever. I'm talking about like, aha! I am the villain! And then you go to a cutscene and be like, I am the villain. And it's like, I know this. I am the villain. It's like, I get that. Like, not even like showcasing why they're the villain. I'm just talking about like, this person's the villain. And then you like go 30 feet and you tell fucking Granny down there, he's the villain. It's, oh yeah. And then you go down like 30 fucking extra feet and you tell this little kid, hey, that motherfucker over there, he's the villain. It's like, I don't need to tell everybody in the radius. The party knows. Can we deal with it? It's like, reiterating of information is like, what the fuck? So, I would definitely not recommend this one. Yakuza Kiwami 2. It's really kind of weird that I can play it and be like, oh my god, how did this... Like, it had to have had such, like, a nice kind of niche fan base to just keep it going, and I'm like, alright, that's cool. It's not my kind of thing, but we'll kind of see what kind of goes on to kind of see the evolution of this franchise. It was the plot twisting and stuff and the design decisions throughout the whole game that fucking hit me the most. It's like, when I have to actively fight a game or not have fun because of the design that's going on with it, it's just like, what the fuck? And then just, I don't mind plot twists, but they have to be done well and executed well, and I don't need them to be done in such quick succession, because it just is like, you're just fucking with me at this point. So it will be interesting to see kind of how the others go, because these are remakes, but this is a remaster. And this definitely I would point at as a remake gone wrong. Like, I don't mind certain things added into a remake for added value. This is just like over-bloated mess of a shitstorm where it's like, this doesn't add anything of true value. You're just putting in shit to be like, we have all this shit and you can do all this shit for all these hours. It's like, and is it fun? Did you develop it far enough along that you can actually feel that's like, yeah, time and care was done into this? Or it's just like, alright, this is here. I gotta interact with this. Ugh. Holy fucking shit. So those are my opinions on Yakuza Kiwami 2. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.